My Hero Academia is filled with characters with appearances and personalities as varied and fascinating as their quirks. But have you ever wondered which quirk would best suit you if you lived in the My Hero universe? Well, you can keep on wondering. Or you can play What's Your Quirk My Hero Academia personality quiz and find out which meta ability would best suit you based on your choices and personality. Welcome to Cosplay-FTW, your #1 source for the latest lowdown on anime and manga news, updates, and analysis. Sit back, relax, and before we get into this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our fresh anime content. Let's jump right in. Now, for each multiple choice question, we'll give you 30 seconds to choose one of the answers from A to F. Make sure to write the number of points scored from each answer. At the end of the quiz, tally up your score to reveal which quirk best suits you based on your unique personality. Question 1. How competitive are you? A. Though it can be understated, you have a strong competitive drive and are constantly seeking to improve yourself. In situations where someone is capable of competing with you, it does cause a powerful spark of excitement within you. B. You're mostly competitive with yourself. You dislike trying to be better than other people and aren't strongly driven by that kind of competition. C. You dislike being ignored and enjoy being the center of attention, so you have a tendency to be competitive. You will develop your skills so you look impressive to others, but you tend to keep things light and enjoyable. D. You are an extremely competitive person and become frustrated if you believe someone else is doing better than you are. Your competitiveness can actually be offensive or extremely intimidating to those around you. E. You're not intimidated by competition and have a competitive streak. You do well in competitive environments and don't mind doing what it takes to beat others, within the rules, of course. F. The feeling of healthy competition is great for you, but you only feel excited by competition that is connected to something you feel passionate about. Did you choose A? Then give yourself 20 points. Give yourself 10 points if you chose B. C gives you 40 points. Give yourself 50 points if you chose D. 30 points if you chose E. And 60 if you chose F. 2. How do you take a compliment? A. You love compliments, and you're used to them. A positive remark lights up your spirit. With you, flattery will get you everywhere. B. You enjoy having your ego stroked. In fact, you'll agree and elaborate on how great and impressive you are. C. This would likely send your ego through the roof. You think you're hot stuff already, so you'll accept a compliment unabashedly. D. You tend to downplay yourself, so though you appreciate the compliment, it makes you feel a bit embarrassed and awkward. E. You take it with a grain of salt. In fact, you are more likely to read into the motives of the one who complimented you because you don't want to be manipulated. F. You don't gush about it. You're more accustomed to criticism. You'd prefer to receive a compliment in private. Did you choose A? Then give yourself 40 points. Give yourself 50 points if you chose B. C gives you 60 points. Give yourself 10 points if you chose D. 20 points if you chose E. and 30 points if you chose F. Choose a color. A. Orange. B. Green. C. Red. D. Purple. E. Yellow. F. Black. Did you choose A? Then give yourself 50 points. Give yourself 10 points if you chose B. C gives you 40 points. Give yourself 30 points if you chose D, 60 points if you chose E, and 20 points if you chose F. Number 4. How would you be at a party? A. You don't mind parties, and you may very well be the center of attention since you're funny and entertaining, although you might prefer one-on-one time with your favorite people instead. B. You go to a party and salivate over any number of possible things that could go down. Who knows? You might go to see some drama, play some pranks, or get the chance to hook up with someone special. C. You keep it classy. You'd rather not involve yourself in outlandish shenanigans. You aren't crazy about mingling for mingling's sake, but you can be moderately social when you need to be. D. You can be found outside admiring the view and getting some fresh air. The free food and drinks is nice, though. E. You like engaging with people, but in moderation. If said party is an intimate group you approve of, you're game for it. But the more crowded it is, the more awkward you feel. F. You're always down for some fun. You love to entertain and be entertained. You're the life of the party, and you have no trouble breaking the ice. If you chose A, then give yourself 50 points. Give yourself 60 points if you chose B. Give yourself 20 points if you chose C. D gives you 30 points. 10 points if you chose E. And 40 points if you chose F. Question 5. Choose an animal. A. Octopus. B. Fox. C. Seahorse. D. Dog. E. Honey badger. F. Crow. If you chose A, then give yourself 20 points. Give yourself 60 points if you chose B. Give yourself 10 points if you chose C. D gives you 40 points. 50 points if you chose E. And 30 points if you chose F. Question 6. What is your biggest insecurity? A. Despite coming off airy and impersonal, you fear being disliked by others. You value and desire meaningful relationships with others. B. Others' failure to properly understand you, especially if they call your ethical principles into question. C. More so than being liked, you need to be respected, admired, and looked up to. You fear being seen as a failure. D. You have a fear of not being competent at something, especially something others expect you to be good at. E. You have a fear of being overlooked and ignored. The way others see you is important to you. F. showing vulnerability and emotionalism, baring your soul for all to see. If you chose A, then give yourself 60 points. Give yourself 10 points if you chose B. Give yourself 50 points if you chose C. D gives you 30 points, 40 points if you chose E, and 20 points if you chose F. Question 7. Which one of these traits do you relate to most? A. You often don't handle criticism well, and you have a tendency to take things very personally. B. You come off aloof, reserved, and closed off, except to the few people you know well. C. You are rarely at complete peace with yourself, and tend to doubt whether you are living up to your full potential. D. You don't always think things through sufficiently before acting and speaking. E. You intensely dislike having your personal space invaded, tending to need lots of it. F. You are naturally not in tune with the feelings of others, and you can tend to be blunt and insensitive at times. If you chose A, then give yourself 40 points. Give yourself 20 points if you chose B. Give yourself 10 points if you chose C. D gives you 60 points, 30 points if you chose E, and 50 points if you chose F. Question 8. Choose an emoji.
Anytime or place, watch 'em run away, I got none. I'll be standing on my own, never gonna take my throne. I got no rival, watch 'em run away, I got I got no rival.
Did you choose A? Then give yourself 30 points. Give yourself 10 points if you chose B. Give yourself 60 points if you chose C. D gives you 40 points, 20 points if you chose E, and 50 points if you chose F. Question 9. How do you feel about rules? A. Too many rules stress you out. You want to have fun and dislike overly rigid and strict environments and policies. You may use your charm to get away with the rules you do get caught breaking. B. You honor the rules you consider useful and necessary until they start to get in the way of doing something you believe is right. C. Do the rules truly serve their intended purpose? You definitely consider the merit of their existence. D. You value a structured life and have an appreciation for rules in general. That is, unless they interfere with your agenda. Though you don't blindly uphold pointless rules, you are more prone to circumvent rules than to break them. E. You understand the rules, and you may be on good behavior most of the time, but you are prone to questioning and even bypassing the rules if they seem illogical. F. Rules won't stop you from seizing an opportunity. You're savvy enough to use loopholes and workarounds to get around rules and regulations. If you chose A, then give yourself 40 points. Give yourself 10 points if you chose B. Give yourself 60 points if you chose C. D gives you 20 points, 30 points if you chose E, and 50 points if you chose F. Question 10. Choose a food. A. Spicy foods. B. Katsudon. C. Cheeseburgers. D. Cold soba noodles. E. Meat. F. Juice pouch.
Can't stop me now. I got no rival. I'ma find my way through the blood and pain game of survival. Any time or place, watch 'em run away. I got none. I'll be standing on my own. Never gonna take my throne. I got no rival. Watch 'em run away. I got none.
If you chose A, then give yourself 50 points. Give yourself 10 points if you chose B. Give yourself 60 points if you chose C. D gives you 20 points, 40 points if you chose E, and 30 points if you chose F. 0 to 149 points, then your quirk is One for All. Like the current One for All user, you're extremely analytical and detail-oriented. You may prefer researching and strategizing well in advance, as opposed to improvising in the moment. You're also a gentle soul, both compassionate and visionary. You are strongly concerned about the well-being of people around you and society as a whole, taking these into consideration when you make a decision. You understand the world, both the good and the bad, and hope to be able to make it better. This makes you a great fit for the powerful quirk One for All, one that requires its wielder to be a symbol of peace and someone extremely selfless and sensitive to the needs of others. But you sometimes struggle to say no to other people's requests, since you are so attuned to what other people are feeling that you may fear causing disappointment or hurt feelings. Did you score 150 to 249 points? Then your quirk is half cold, half hot. On the outside, you may seem as cool as a cucumber. But just like Todoroki, there's a fiery ambition brimming just beneath the surface, which means this half-cold, half-hot ice and fire quirk suits you well. You have a quiet confidence about you that might be mistaken for arrogance. That is, until you prove that you can back it up. This is because you're hard-working and hold yourself to extremely high standards, and even though you hide it well, you have a bit of a competitive streak. You tend to prefer to work alone, and who can blame you? Most of the time, things are just more efficient that way. But your extreme independence, bordering on isolationist tendencies, may make you look mysterious, intimidating, and hard to get to know. Did you score 250 to 349 points? Then your quirk is Erasure. You're quiet, with an easygoing attitude towards others, like the ultra-laid-back Aizawa. Likewise, the quirk Erasure suits you well, just like your favorite UA high school teacher. You're perceptive and insightful, but you tend towards emphasizing cold logic and rationale over emotions at any given time. It may make you seem insensitive, but it's the same quality that allows you to keep a cool head and act in the moment in the midst of crisis. Very much in the same way that Aizawa reacts instantly to disable someone's quirk even before they use it. You are good at looking at situations in an objective way and avoiding subjective or emotional factors when making decisions. You can be difficult to get to know, often because you're focused so much on action and results rather than emotions. If you scored 350 to 449 points, then your quirk is Hardening. You prefer to be in the center of the action rather than sit on the sidelines at any given moment. And though it's not the flashiest ability, Hardening is a great quirk for you. This being because you aren't big on conflict. You get along with others quite easily and well, so a quirk made for defending those you care about is quite fitting. Don't get it twisted though. You still enjoy the thrill and excitement of friendly competition, since you genuinely love interaction and socializing with other people. Rather than coming up with some grand strategy, you have the tendency to react quickly and impulsively. without any concern for the future or the bigger picture. Now this can be to your credit, and at other times, getting you into trouble. If you scored 450 to 549 points, then your quirk is Explosion. Like Bakugo, you're fiery and energetic, driven primarily by your insanely good instincts, making the Explosive Explosion quirk the perfect match for you. You can be aggressively and fearsomely competitive, with a drive to win that can seem downright scary to more sensitive people. You're very driven and goal-oriented, and your self-discipline almost assures you success in achieving them. But you have little patience for planning too far into the future. You much prefer to jump in the moment and figure out things as you go. But this approach works for you. This is where you thrive. Your adaptability, resourcefulness, and extreme attention to detail when it comes to your surroundings in the moment allows you to react on a dime. You may be guilty of acting recklessly and impulsively at times, for better or for worse. If you scored 550 to 600 points, then your quirk is Electrification. You have an electrifying personality, making this quirk, Electrification, well suited for you. Like Denki, you can appear reckless and blunt, rushing into new opportunities or possibilities headlong, without thinking about tact or all the details that could get in the way. You're generally friendly and fun, but your provocative remarks sometimes give the impression that you don't always care about group harmony at the same level that others do. But your bark tends to be worse than your bite, namely because you have the tendency to freeze or panic during more physical altercations. But you do have significant strategy intelligence in a pinch. More so than long-term planning, you typically enjoy doing spontaneous things that keep you intrigued and entertained, or it risks feeling like a boring chore to you. And that wraps up today's personality quiz. How close were we to describing your personality? Let us know your thoughts and results in the comments section below, and we'll see you in the next one.